Hello, Duru.
Hey, Duru.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Oh,
Hey. Oh, I'm
oh,
hearing myself.
I'm hearing myself.
Ida, I'm hearing myself.
Ida, I'm hearing myself.
Okay, I'm just. Okay, fantastic. Okay, guys. Hi. How everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Fantastic. I see Jose here, Noah is here, Jeffrey's here, Ida is here, Ali is here, BT is here. Yay. Oh my God, things are going to go smoothly. BT, we have mods already here. Samantha, Daniel, Sketch is here, Dajjal is here, Ian is here, Halda is here, Nail Bunny is here, and Jordan is here. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So, how are you guys doing? Miss me? It's okay. Don't worry. I'm home. I'm back. Okay. So, okay, BT, you're with us. And let me check the YouTube chat as well. Hey, Jordan, let me actually make this chat bigger so that people could see. I also see people on the YouTube live chat are here. Amir, I see you. Scarter, I see you. Okay. Mythic Minx, love that username. Remy, I read your message on the Persian channel when you gave that. Guys, is BT here? Do you guys like? I'm not hearing anybody. Open your mics. Well,
I think people are trying to fix. There's like an issue with Ida's
Yeah.
mic, and she's getting some
Ye-
feedback.
Yeah.
oh,
I was
okay,
I
okay.
was gonna tell you something, Armin, but I was muted too, and I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay. Well, your audio is fixed now.
Okay. Well, you were right.
What I was
Just
right.
a little quick note for everyone. Last night's chat on this chat, on the main, the 3 to 5 chat, was still going at 2:30 in the morning.
Whoa. You guys
Wow.
you guys kept on going. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow,
I
guys,
didn't. I was asleep.
okay. What were you guys talking about until all the time? What was
Yeah, we were up late.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of topics, little politics here and there, dieting, things like that. Just general chit chat, whatever people want to talk about, everything was open.
Oh, that's so great. By the way, that's good for people to know. Like, once once I leave, like chit chatting about, and honestly, even when I'm here, chit chatting about many topics are. I mean,
Hey, we love it.
don't get me started on diets. I will start a religion on that topic. So don't even get started on that with me. Okay.
Hey, by the way, you were right about Jedi.
Oh, yeah. Yep. See, I know it was obvious.
I know my spelling. Well, yeah, my spelling sucks, and yeah, I need to proofread better. So,
No, no,
but I
no,
did
no, no.
create a.
It was
It's,
yes, but thank you. Yeah, go on.
yeah, but I'm actually creating a different YouTube channel called like Persian Noah or something like that. To like, I don't know. I'm thinking about doing that. So yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, good on you. All right. Do we have BT? BT, are you with us? I don't see BT. Do we have any other mic?
He's there.
She's there. I see her
She was having a little bit of a problem with the app.
with the app. Okay. All right. You know what?
Ali's
Ali,
here. Ali's
Ali,
here.
be able to mod for us? No
Yeah, I
pressure.
got it.
Okay, fantastic. Okay.
All right.
So,
Jeffrey's first then,
all
if
right.
you didn't want to give updates.
I mean,
It's going
I
to do a
just-
general
yeah.
sit.
Okay, literally, Jeffrey, make it so that a 5-year-old could understand. Okay, 5-year-old version of everything you want to tell
I'll do
us.
my best.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. So over the past 24 hours, the general overview of events in and around the Persian Gulf of the Strait. You have tit for tat defensive actions continuing at low intensity. U.S. forces conducted limited self-defense strikes again near Bandar Abbas, southern Iran, right on the strait, particularly targeting Iranian drone control sites, boats prepping to lay mines, and related missile infrastructure. Iran responded with attack drones. Most of them were downed, and at least one ballistic missile was fired towards a U.S. base in Kuwait. It was intercepted by Kuwaiti defenses. No casualties reported. IRGC Navy fired warning shots at 4 vessels attempting to transit without quote-unquote coordination and permission. Read, they're trying to extort tolls. Regime remnant state media floated a draft of U.S.-Iran framework that would supposedly open commercial shipping for 30 days. Trump says the talks show progress, but insists no Iranian control and tolls and no sanction relief until uranium is been resolved. U.S. states action. So he conducted overnight defensive strikes on Iranian drone and control sites and mine lane vessels. We downed 4 out of 5 reported Iranian attack drones, and the people that launched it didn't live very much longer to even, shoot and scoot. They got obliterated. Continued enforcement of the naval blockade on Iranian ports, redirecting, diverting vessels. So Project Freedom is still in play. Diplomatic push. They're pushing, the current administration is like the strait must be open to all, no one controls. Secretary of State Rubio and others are emphasizing uranium removal and no regime tolling schemes. Mullah regime actions. There's no direct kinetic activity reported in the Persian Gulf or Hormuz in the past 24 hours. I mean, as far as Israeli actions. Israelis' actions are mostly focused on its northern border via southern Lebanon. They're definitely ramping up operations against the Mullah regime's proxies. In other words, trying to trim off all those tentacles of whatever tentacles are left of that octopus. They intensified airstrikes and ground pressure on Hezbollah in the Bekaa Valley. So dozens have killed in recent days, including senior figures. They continued strikes in Gaza against Hamas remnants and commanders. Gulf states, so Kuwait air defenses were activated and successfully intercepted the Iranian ballistic missile that was fired overnight. UAE strongly aligned with U.S. position against Iranian control of the Strait. Saudi Arabia and others are diplomatically supporting U.S.-led efforts. Some earlier independent strikes in Iran during the hot phase, focusing on bypassing the pipeline. So I can't pronounce this. Armin, maybe you can help me. Fujairah. To reduce future vulnerability.
Fujairah?
Oman.
Are you taking?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Sorry. Oman has been in the back channels doing their stupid shit. Overall, the Gulf states are coordinating quietly with CENTCOM. Mullah regime remnants. So IRGC Navy claimed coordination of distant vessels in transit. Those 4 fired warning shots, launched retaliatory drones of at least 1 ballistic missiles. Hezbollah's actions continued low-level rocket and drone launches toward northern Israel. And they're taking some heavy losses from intensified Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon. Go kick their ass, IDF. Hamas and Gaza proxies, so localized rocket fire and attempts to operate in Gaza. They're under heavy pressure, and multiple Hamas commanders are killed in recent strikes, and Israel is bumping up their pressure on them. Overall force structure, I'm almost done. So U.S. maintains dominant air and naval presence via the 5th Fleet, Bahrain HQ, and CENTCOM, multiple destroyers, air assets, including Apaches for small boat, mosquito boat hunting. We have special ops and Marines capable of rapid mine clearing, and escort ops. Blockade is actively enforced. Regime remnants, so minimal direct presence in the Gulf. There's no major naval assets because we put them all in the bottom of the ocean. The focus is, that's Israeli. So focus is north, Lebanon, Hezbollah, heavy air ground operations. As far as Gulf states, they're primarily defensive in hosting our assets. Air defense is on high alert. U.S. bases and allied assets in UAE, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain are very well protected now that we've stocked up our defensive munitions, which should help people kind of game out where things are probably going to go. Mullah regime remnants, they've heavily degraded because we sank all their shit. The IRGC Navy, or what's left of it, relies on asymmetric tools like swarms of fast boats, naval mines, coastal missiles, and drones. There's a very particular guy who was involved in the launching of the drones and or ballistic missile. He's like what took the place of the last Mullah douche canoe that was obliterated in the 12-day war. It's not going to work there very much longer. So Hamas's force structure, they've taken significant attrition from the Israeli campaign. Rocket and drone capability remains, except for their command has been absolutely hammered. It focuses on Lebanon's southern border. Hamas finally severely degraded. Leadership losses, tunnel and rocket at the structure has been collapsed. That's kind of where everything's at in a nutshell. So bottom line is the Hormuz is still a pressure point in keeping the war from fully ending. U.S. has military, like a significant military edge, and is using it surgically while we're ramping up the pain. Regime remnants is bleeding economically and trying to use asymmetric proxies to counter the pain that they're receiving. Things could escalate real quickly. That's where it kind of lays out.
All right, thank you. Not yet at the 5-year-old level, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay. Okay. We're working on it. Okay. Okay. We saw some twos in the chat, I think,
Yeah.
and BT.
Sketch, go ahead.
Oh, Sketch. Okay. Hi, BT. BT's back. Okay, Sketch.
Yes, what I was going to talk about was the people that are stuck there. And I went through some checking over here. Is around 20,000 vessels. Now these are slow-moving vessels that are hard to move. These things can't duck and move around the attacks. So these would be the most vulnerable targets and the targets that the IRGC can most easily leverage. Now, as of May 7th, 9 of those vessels got out. That's around 20,000 people that are stuck there and have been stuck there a long time. I would understand that anything that would be exacerbating the need for some kind of arrangement and talk would be to get these people out of here, because these people are just basically hostages. It's a terrorist government. They took hostages and they have 20,000 hostages stuck in these boats. I think it's a good thing that 9 of those vessels got out May 27. But I believe that this would be a priority, and I would keep my eyes on this. I believe that this is why there's activity, because if they tried to get 9 vessels, and we also have reports that there's been strikes, it may have been because it seems that they were going to try to strike these vessels. I'm just, open source intel trying to tie 2 and 2 together, but it looks like 2 and 2 makes 4, right? I'm not getting all the way to 5 on this. It seems like that's what's been going on.
Perfect. Okay. Who's next?
Next to
Right, Noah?
respond, we have
Oh.
Noah.
Noah.
Sorry about you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So, yeah, when I first saw the strikes, I thought, is the war back on and everything? And then I realized they're going tit for tat at this point. And, we saw the Kuwaitis being mad, and all the other Gulf states being mad. But I'm still wondering if we're waiting, because today's the 28th, if we're still waiting until Hajj has ended, because that ends tomorrow, and if full blown war will resume because of of what we all think, and that's the idea, and that's just my thinking right now. But yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, to your point, Noah, we got confirmation that the Hajj was an important consideration based on what I heard Scott Besson just mentioned in their press conference. You could see that it was important. It's something that they were paying attention to. The Americans are paying attention to. So it was relevant. Okay, who's next?
Next, we have Super Chat.
Oh, okay. We just got a super chat. Thank you so much to Roman Cabbage saying, what would happen if Vahidi equal Kotlet? Basically, if they took out Vahidi tomorrow, would there be chaos? Not visible chaos at the beginning. It would weaken the Islamic Republic. You would see there would be a lot of chaos, non-visible chaos behind the scene that it will demonstrate itself later. You're not going to see, in my opinion, if they took Vahidi all of a sudden dies, the Islamic Republic is going to overreact from a propaganda perspective, but try not to overreact from a military perspective, because they know they're not going to be able to do much right now. And they actually don't want to be the reason why the Americans come in. And so Vahidi being killed would weaken the IRGC, because they finally managed to. The IRGC had a lot of internal division and it was chaotic for a while, but now Vahidi's control over the IRGC has been established, and they finally got their act together. So killing Vahidi would basically get everything back into chaotic mode, within the IRGC, and it will take a while for them to be able to recover from that. However, most of the chaos, they will try to hide the chaos from us. You're not going to see like, I don't know, like a civil war right away, like something that would be IRGC and IRGC violence. I mean, at least not yet, but it will hurt them very significantly. So yes, that's the short answer is yes, but not in a visible way, at least not at the beginning. And thank you so much for the super chat. All right, so who's next?
Next on the main list, we have Halda talking about African proxies.
African proxies of the Islamic Republic? Who's
I
that?
was just curious because we know that the proxies that came in from, Uganda, they already speak Farsi. And of course, there's been some discussion that proxies in Nigeria are connected to the Islamic regime. And I was curious if anybody knew if that was true, and also if they had names. I've been trying to research this and for my project, and I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right track. Oh, and also Algeria. Those three countries.
Yeah, so I don't know their names, but I have seen for many years the Islamic Republic bragging about the madrasas, mosques, and the loyal support base that it has in Africa, and feeding into it and growing it. In many African countries, like I've seen them in Nigeria, they have their own loyal base there. So I haven't gone into the details of seeing in which country what that group is called. I remember there was one very important imam in Nigeria that was loyal to Ali Khamenei. It was on the news a couple of years ago, and we covered it on our channel. And they had their own, but so the names that of the proxy groups of the Islamic Republic that I'm familiar with are mostly the ones in the Middle East and in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So Zainabiyun, Fatimiyun, Hashishabi, Kataib. I mean, obviously the most famous of them being Hezbollah. So I don't know the names of different groups. I'm sure it's easy to find them with AI.
It really isn't as easy. That's what I thought too, And,
really?
I mean, because we know that the regime is, basically, well, as of a few months ago anyway, has its tentacles, if you will, in like almost 41 countries. Right. And I do know that Africa, of course, tends to be overlooked because, it's Africa. And I kind of think that that's probably going to really be a mistake in the future. That's why I was just curious, But yeah, I did look up on AI. I used a couple different, and I have not been able to confirm any, concrete answers.
I'm glad that you're bringing attention to this, because the very reason why people overlook Africa is the very reason why it's going to be works for ISIS, Al Qaeda, and the Islamic Republic, right? The instability there and the poverty there makes it the best place to spend very little money and recruit from. And also,
absolutely,
yes, and also failed states are the best place to establish your own. I mean, Al Qaeda just took over, almost took over Mali, right? Mali, we used to associate the name ISIS to establishing a state. We didn't associate the word Al Qaeda to establish, I would say, but apparently now they have a country. I think Mali is now the first country that has fallen almost completely into the hands of Al Qaeda. I mean, it's interesting that people are not talking about it, because Al Qaeda, after 9/11, Al Qaeda was so big, and now we have an entire country that has fallen to the group that did 9/11, and it doesn't get that much attention, right? So that's pretty crazy that that's happening. And eventually, it's not going to stay in Africa. All of this is going to eventually come to Europe. But for the Islamic Republic, the Africa strategy is not just about establishing. So there are multiple benefits to creating. So they're competing, by the way, against against ISIS and Al Qaeda in Africa, right? Because most Muslims are Sunni, ISIS and Al Qaeda have an easier time with brand recognition of their so franchising their branding is easier because everybody is like Sunni. So, but the Islamic Republic tries to convert people to Shia and then convert the Shias loyal to the Vilayat Faqih version of Ethno Ashari Shia Islam in Tehran and Qom. And this has three benefits. First of all, it's easy because it's cheap. It's easy to get people on your side with very little money. But the first benefit is that it's leverage. When you can, because United States is trying to maintain stability in Africa, so is European countries. China is trying to really aggressively is trying to make moves in Africa. So if you have agents and forces there that could cause lack of stability, then the great powers in Africa would need to make deals with you to stop the instability. So that gives you leverage. That's the one benefit. Two, if you have Shia communities in Africa that you could influence the politics of these countries, it's a cheapest way for you to have a higher standing in international affairs, because the news might not care about Africa, but in the United Nations, like every vote of every country counts, right? So with very little money, if you could influence the politics of African countries, all of a sudden you have more votes in the United Nations, and that's a international politically. So at least on an international level, people try to pretend that every country has an equal vote. So that would give legitimacy to the Islamic Republic and what positions they want the world to take because of the votes that they have. But most importantly to us Iranian people, as we mentioned, is that as soon as there's a Shia population there growing, after years of investments, they try to bring them to Iran, especially the women. The video I showed you, you see there was a lot of African women because they want to have Shia babies, right? They bring them there to make Shia babies inside Iran to replace us Iranian people with Shia babies from Africa.
What
which,
kind of
by the way,
worries you?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go
I'm
on.
sorry.
No, you
Well,
go ahead.
I guess the only reason why I brought it up, I mean, obviously everything that you're talking about are extremely important points, but I think that we may see a similar situation in Africa as we have seen in Central America and South America, because we're talking about very porous borders, and on borders, they're basically open, and no one's really watching these countries. And then all of a sudden, like what we've seen in South America and Central America, the regime, and some of the proxies are actually working hand in hand with the cartel. And I just think that this could be a nightmare, internationally, especially with, like you said, NATO, etc. But I mean, just the fact, look at Spain, taking in, what was it, 500,000, immigrants on boats from Africa. I mean, who knows where they're coming from, but anyway, it was just something that I was really curious if you knew, and I guess I'll just continue to research it.
Let me tell you also how this is going to play, that the Islamic Republic is going to play right into it with and take full advantage of it when it comes to propaganda in the West using the left, okay? Because when you have migration from Africa and Afghanistan and Pakistan at this scale into Iran and Iraq, that inevitably is going to cause racism, right? People are going to not, it's a natural thing that happens in response to mass migration. And the Islamic Republic wants to encourage racism, wants to bring like people with black skin at a higher scale into Iran, praising the supreme leader, and then try to get race actual, like not just, not just responses about like, well, I mean, we're not against Africans. This is just not their country. This is about the ideology, not the race. At some point, when it's natural when I say natural, it doesn't mean good, but it's just natural. It's just inevitable when you see people who are not the same as you coming at a large scale into your country to replace you. You're going to see so much commentary against those people as a whole, okay, especially if their skin color is different, right? And I'm not saying most Iranians will do that, but there will be responses like that, obviously. And the Islamic Republic is going to pick that as a way to show its opposition as racist and show that Islam doesn't care about race. Like, look at the people who are against these Shias are racist, but Islam is above race. Okay. We don't care if you are black, white, I don't know, whatever. This is the superiority of Islam that fights racism. It goes above race and sees the character of the people rather than the color of their skin. And it's going to go try to then sell this to leftists in the West and say, look at these, opposition, look at these monarchists, look at these fascist anti-regime people. They try to act like we are evil and demonic, but we are welcoming people of all races and all ethnicities from the world into our country, just like you are. Just like a leftist idea with like, oh, we should be welcoming to people and the people. So that's our ideology, and our opposition is being racist towards people from Afghanistan, being racist people from Africa, and that's what they stand for. So I could already see the Islamic Republic trying to take advantage of the inevitable, they encourage the racism so that they could capture the racism and then demonstrate use that as propaganda against their own opposition. So just wait for that to happen.
And I just ask one more question, then I promise I'll shut up.
No, please, you bring up so many good points. Don't shut up. But yeah, go on.
What I'm really curious about too is, considering this from an American point of view, we all know that we have issues right now, with Islamic, problems like in New York City, in Texas, North Carolina, Minnesota. And I kind of wonder if another strategy of incorporating, proxies from Africa would be radicalization of American African Americans.
Wait, say that again, because I think that has already happened before, if I understand you correctly.
Well, I mean, I know it's happened before, but I wonder if there would be an increase in radicalization of African Americans through the influence of, proxies from Africa.
Right.
Because we're already seeing this Islamic penetration, infiltration in various American cities and states right now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so far what I've seen is the Islamic Republic pretending to care about racism against Black people in America, going there and saying that America is an oppressive, a racist country and the Black people there need saving, and pretending that it's also part of the solution to save Black people in America. So there's that. I don't know if anybody has seen that, but I haven't seen them that being connected to Africans in Africa, that influencing African Americans. So I haven't seen that yet, but I mean, I don't know. They might try that. Actually, we might be giving them ideas. And now that I think about it, but yeah, if I was the Islamic Republic, I would be not just bringing the Shia population, Shia pro-regime population that I've developed in Africa. You know what? I wouldn't be just bringing them to Iran to replace the Iranian people. I would actually be interested in helping them migrate to United States as well. That might not be a bad strategy for the Islamic Republic, actually. Yes, BT saying don't stop giving them ideas.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, I will now be quiet. Thank you.
No, thank you, Aldo.
The damage is done, Armin. God.
It's out there.
I know it's already out there. Imagine valuing a race so little that your plan is to bring them in to breed.
Yeah.
Hello, the fuck. Hello. But all
like
right.
farm animals.
But
like
all
farm
right.
animals. Yeah.
We also saw some of that. I mean, a very quick response after October 7th was BLM with T-shirts of certain areas. I know they have different kind of, it's not like they all have one priest, but with paragliders on their T-shirts talking about resistance. I mean, that was huge. So there's already an infiltration there with at least Palestinian ideology connected to this idea of Black suffering and taking down the US. Interestingly, the IRGC hasn't done anything in regard to a solution, but they would love to tell a little secret that rips everybody apart, which is just very leftist of them. Okay, the response list. First, we have Sketch.
Yes, I have my AI trained to parse out things that aren't like more data driven. I found some networks here. One is MIN, Islamic Movement in Nigeria. There's a very high degree of certainty that they do Iran supported schools teaching Persian in Nigeria. It is a Shia movement, pro-Khomeini, so Nigeria would be one of those places. Al Mustafa International University. This is in, let me see. Al Mustafa used IRGC recruitment and indoctrination. And this is probably what they're speaking of here is a university network that, how these things spread through universities here. Apparently, they're trying to fund universities, and through those universities, spread the ideology. They have 17 branches and 100 centers in schools, mosque institutes in 30 countries. So this would be one of those Shia-centered places of propaganda and recruitment and, community infiltration. There is some of these groups don't have a separate name. It'd be like Hezbollah of West Africa or, this type of thing. They have a movement there. Lebanese Hezbollah has a partnership in West Africa. I'm just going down the list. Sudanese armed forces are also involved with the Shias. Al-Shabaab via the Houthi channel. In Uganda and Senegal. And Chad. In Chad, they also have some links to this type of funding. I would try to trace through the universities. This Al Mustafa International University with 17 branches, 100 center schools and mosques in 30 countries. That would be my first source for finding the network. I'm going to put the link. This is from the State Department, from the Treasury. I'm sorry, this is from the Treasury. I'm going to put the link from the U.S. Treasury here. So anybody trying to look for information on this, Helda, if I am of any of assistance, it's a pleasure to be of service. As far as using Black people in unison to Muslims against white people, this might backfire in the sense that once Black people start really looking at the roots, they're going to say that most of Black slavery was in the later portions. Once Black people stopped being sold by Black people on the Ivory Coast, what has continued it up until this day is Islam. Islam was one of the largest propagators and institutors of slavery. They still believe in slavery. They still put it in the laws today. So that could literally backfire if a larger section of the Black community, because there's sections of the Black community that are very communist oriented, and they are very much grifters who pretend to be communist, but they're capitalist, right? They all they want is that funding money. All they want is that NGO money. They don't really care about any cause. They care about themselves. But there is a section, kind of contrarian, that no matter what the big narrative is on the left or the right, they want to take another route. And it's a large segment. And if they want to take another route, what they're going to start pointing out is that it's Islam that enslaves a lot of Black people, and that there is within Islam, like you might not see racism in most Iranians, but you might find it in the very Islamic religious ones. You understand what I'm saying? Islam has a tendency towards racism in some areas.
Can I put my Muslim hat on and respond to that, Sketch?
Of course, I would appreciate it.
Okay. There's nothing racist with slavery in Islam, because we have no problem enslaving white people as well. So thank you very much. We're inclusive with our racism. There you go. No, we're inclusive with our slavery.
I have seen many. I have seen many report that that was also like preferred in some occasions,
Yes.
especially in
Oh,
the conquest
actually,
era.
Sketch, this is a comeback. That's a very good point. Sketch is like, yes, Islam historically has enslaved white people and sold white people, and here's the racism: white people sell for more. Historically, white people have always sold for more in the slave market than black people. So there's the racism, especially white women.
I have seen horrifying videos of the people. This is Twitch, Twitter videos, and they're saying, "I want to buy a Yazidi light skin," and this type of thing, that they would pay more for that. So
Yes.
it's not only historically true; it moves on into the current era. But they're not beyond, going for every color, like you said. They're very inclusive in their slavery. So speaking of slavery, too much in America could backfire, because they're always trying to one up each other, and no, I know more history than you, and that could start a spiral that goes against this type of immigration. Thank you very much.
Also, Quran is colorist. Okay, Quran, for example, explains that the women in heaven, the huris, the angels that you're supposed to have sex with, are so beautiful that the skins are not just white but transparent. And it describes that it's so transparent that you could see their bones. You can see their bones, and it says that as if that's no. So apparently that's sexy, that you could see, like, it's so obsessed with white skin that it exaggerates and says, like, forget white, these bitches be transparent. It explains that you can see their bones. Yeah, apparently that's a good thing. I don't know, but yeah, who's next?
Today is just starting off so special. Next we have Jose.
Hello, Helda. I want to correct something that you said there. There's about 630 people being given residency status in Spain. Over 500,000 of them came in from South America. These are people that have come into Spain with visas that have now expired, and they're still there. The other number is the iffy number. I do believe they might be from Morocco, but also Spain has three cities and an island in north of Spain, right around Gibraltar area, that are Spanish territories, Spanish citizenship, and that kind of stuff. And they've also come up. So it's an iffy situation. It's a very confused situation in Spain. The number of total Muslims that have come up over the years might be 500,000. Okay. But the ones that are being brought in like this, with this law that passed, they have to speak Spanish. They have to be of Spanish descent, blah, 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 blah. Things that are not being reported in the news. One. Okay. Second, by the way, you're doing great work with that research. It needs to be done. But no, I think that's going to be it, because between Sketch and Arvin, they put out all the other points that are necessary on it. And I'm glad someone mentioned the fact that there was a white slave trade too.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Jeffrey.
Yeah, that was like a super cool topic. It's really poignant. Well done. Well done, Doc. So as far as the JNIM, they're one of the biggest under the radar kind of stories right now. Al Qaeda's main Africa arm, which is the JNIM, don't ask me to say their name. I don't speak. Who gives a Crapistanian? Is operating with significant daylight territorial control across Sahel, and especially Mali, as Armin very aptly mentioned, and Noah referenced how Western withdrawal, particularly France, created a power vacuum that they took advantage of, right? So the JNIM kind of controls vast rural and semi-urban zones in the northern, central, and, well, pretty much all of Mali. They've imposed effective blockades. What's going on? You have a lot of insecurity flows. I'm going to tie this into what the idea of weaponized immigration, because Doc brought up two very good points. You have all these insecurity flows coming out of there, right? So you have insecurity flows going into Niger, into Benin and Togo and the Ivory Coast and all this other stuff. So how do they hold territory in the light of day, which is actually something Al Qaeda was not able to do? I mean, Al Qaeda was a terrorist organization. Then ISIS actually held territory in the light of day because they're actually far more sophisticated. ISIL, you had Dabiq and all this other shit. Now, Al Qaeda's descendants have learned from that. So they have they're doing local deals with communities and ethnic ties and economic warfare, blockade and taxing, much like the IRGC, right? Douchebag's going to douchebag. They avoid mass alienating civilians where possible because they're trying to build up their power base. They have about 6,000 fighters. They use IEDs, drones. They're showing increasing sophistication, right? Competitive adaptation, guerrilla tactics, all this other stuff. So when it comes to operational ties between, say, domestic extremist elements like the Nation of Islam, Islamic terrorists, Al Qaeda, destabilization, migration kind of efforts. So direct ties between, say, Nation of Islam, I'm just going to use them as a case study because they actually have operational ties with the Mullah regime. Direct ties between the Nation of Islam and Al Qaeda is pretty fucking weak. There's a lot of rhetoric that they use to support each other as far as broader Islamist links, and this actually is what Armin kind of touched on. There's a lot of, beyond rhetorical, there's organizational and operational ties that center on financial and diplomatic ties to regime sponsors of Shia-aligned actors. Farrakhan has actually visited Mullah-occupied Iran numerous times. He's met with leaders like Khomeini and Rouhani and praised figures like, Salami head Soleimani, and received loans from Muammar Gaddafi and all these other douchebags. In fact, the Nation of Islam has the fruit of Islam. It's like they're more kinetically inclined military arm of their organization. So as far as Al Qaeda and jihadist use of migration, it's very clear there are real concerns, right, around jihadist exploitation of migration, porous borders, and ideological outreach to disaffected communities, including some U.S. Muslim populations. There's a reason that AFRICOM has actually mentioned that this is something we need to get a hand on. I think that's, that's actually I'm very happy that Doc H and Armin brought up the point, and Armin actually mentioned what he did. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, Shauna, are you still with us?
That always
I
sounds
don't-
like we're asking her if she's still alive. But apparently
I'd
not.
like to know. Yeah.
Good lady, you're getting a migraine.
Okay. Armin,
Is that-
you are next. We'll finish off with super chats.
Okay. So first, I found the hadith. So sorry, I said Quran. It's actually the hadith that tells you about the transparent woman. So I want to read it in full, and then I also want to talk about George Floyd and how that's related to the Islamic Republic. Okay. All right. So here's the hadith talking about a transparent woman in heaven being, and this is a Sahih hadith. This is Sahih al-Bukhari 3245 and also Sahih Muslim. So the two highest authority hadiths in Islam, which means they are under Sahih, which means that they have the highest authority when it comes to the saying of, Prophet Muhammad, right? So the Sahih Muslim is 2834. So this is what it says. The prophet said, when it said the prophet means Muhammad, the first batch of people who will enter paradise will be glittering like the full moon, and the batch next to them will be glittering like the most brilliant star in the sky. Their hearts will be as if the heart of a single man, for they will have neither enmity nor jealousy amongst themselves. Everyone will have two wives from the Houris, who will be so beautiful, pure, and transparent that the marrow of the bones of their legs will be seen through the bone and the flesh. Let me read that part one more time. Okay. Everyone will have two wives from the Houris, meaning angels, sex slave angels in heaven, the Houris, who will be so beautiful, pure, and transparent that the marrow of the bones of their legs will be seen through the bones and the flesh. Very sexy. Very sexy. Oh my God. I'm just getting horny thinking about that. So that was that. That was that. Oh my God. Okay. And then we have this marrow, bone marrow. We're talking about bone marrow. So the obsession with white skin has become so high that they went to transparent to the point that you can see the bone marrow. Okay, you can't compete with that, guys. This is like unrealistic expectations for our children. Okay, so we have George Floyd. So in 20, so the Islamic Republic also using the the racial tensions in the United States to their advantage. When the George Floyd when the thing happened, they came out and condemned it. Even the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei came out, and other officials denounced the U.S. government, claiming the event revealed America's true face, which is weird because there seemed to be more obsessed with, like, it's so like this is a regime that was at the time executing people for being against the regime while saying this, which is the hypocrisy is crazy. Saying, and also we have to keep in mind that, I mean, I don't want to start derail this discussion, but I don't think the cop did anything wrong, to be honest, right? He was just doing what his training was told him to do. And George Floyd was turned into it as saint person, as like he was a criminal and he was on drugs. So I don't know why people turned him into a saint. But so the Supreme Leader, and so they said this is America's true face. Human rights advocates noted that the regime's concern was highly opportunistic and hypocritical. The Iranian government utilized the U.S. unrest as propaganda tool to deflect international criticism away from its own long history of violently suppressing peaceful protests and oppressing ethnic minorities. And then in 2026, the regime that pushed this 2020 messaging. I'm not gonna. So then it goes to its records and everything. But they constantly mention this. So one thing that we see the pro-regime people constantly post on social media that I see often is let's pray for George Floyd, like in remembrance of George Floyd, like, and this is and another thing that is now trending among comments for pro-regime people is let's pray for the children of Epstein Island in remembrance of. So the whole Epstein Island situation is now their favorite propaganda against the United States. So they pretend, the Islamic Republic likes to pretend that they're fighting for the oppressed people of the world, including George Floyd, including children of the Epstein Island. This is their favorite thing that they like to do. Anyway, so just wanted to let you guys know. And I'm going to see if anybody in the chat got really angry with me over my comments with George Floyd, because I think sometimes when I mention that, people get really angry. But do you guys agree with me in the chat? I want to just see if I caused a lot of... I don't know. Let me go to the super chats really quickly. Fleshy Interloper gave us a super chat saying, is Trump forcing the Arabs to buy a seat at the table? Trump is forcing the Arabs to, he's basically using the threat of the Islamic Republic and how much he provides security for the Arab countries against the Islamic Republic. He's using that as a way to renegotiate the arrangement that the United States has with these Arab countries when it comes to providing security to them. And he wants more from these Arab countries, reminding them, using the Islamic Republic as a way to remind them how much they rely on the United States for their security, and how they need to be more contributing more to what the United States wants, including recognizing Israel's dominance over the region and getting under its security umbrella, which is what we require for the United States to be able to free up more of its resources from the Middle East to focus on the Dondro Doctrine and also on China. And thank you for the super chat, Fleshy interloper. And then we have Robert. Thank you so much for the super chat saying, Javid Shah, what targets does the group purpose? Does the group purpose? I think you mean propose. Yeah, that our military could hit. Propose, I think. Yeah. What targets does the group propose that our military could hit? Also, we love you in Chicago, and also in quotations, #1. Thank you so much, Robert. Yes, you're always #1. We will never forget that. First person who got honorary Iranian citizenship. Guys, people in the chat, what do you guys propose military targets for United States once we go back to kinetic? Does anybody? We know what we'll see. Okay, so let's Jeffrey really short, and then we'll go to the next super chat. Jeffrey and Noah only, no one else. Jeffrey.
So as far as targets would be concerned, it should be all of the different asymmetric elements in the Strait of Hormuz, all of the IRGC, Mullah regime remnants, and besieged leadership down to the lieutenants. All of the Mullah regime remnants is conventional military forces, so every tank, APC, towed artillery, and or helicopters. That should be our targets.
Okay, fantastic. Noah.
Any depots that are left that haven't been struck, and also I would say whatever Jeffrey also said. So yes.
Okay, just not Pezeshkian, because I wanna see him upset. I want to see Pezeshkian upset. Okay, just leave him, please. One person for us people. Okay. And let's go to Ida. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ida saying, Armin, please tell Jeffrey to stop eating his fingers. Jeffrey, this is for you. Otherwise, I have to send him food. Okay, well, I mean, I don't think that's gonna work, Ida. If you're gonna send him food, if he continues eating his fingers, like Jeffrey, I encourage you to continue eating your fingers because you're gonna get free food. And then Ida also saying, love you guys. Thank you, Ida. Love you back. Thank you so much. Okay. And Ida is right here, by the way. Okay. Okay. And then we have Freshy Interloper saying, where is the Africa information? Oh, yeah, Sketch. Do you have anything that I could share with the people in the YouTube chat? And thank you. If Sketch shares that with me, I'll send it over.
You are, I'm sorry, excuse me. I was chatting on the side. Can you ask again, please?
Yeah. Where is all the Africa information that you gave us regarding these groups? Like, where can we find that?
Okay, I got it from the first link I got. Let me see if I got it here.
So actually,
this is the university. This is one that's doing the most propagation of this. So this would be like my #1 go-to, because these people are getting into 30 countries and they have like 100 centers, right? So this is from the treasury.gov. And that's one of the places. I'm going to put some more links. I'm going to mute myself so you can continue the show and all this, but I'm going to start putting the links in on my sources, okay?
Okay. I put the link in the chat for people who are interested. And thank you so much. I'll also highlight it for other people who might watch this later. And then we have Sarah with the super chat saying, my skin is very white. Don't say, there might be Muslims around. Saying, my skin is very white, especially in the sun, but no one has ever wanted to have sex with me because of it. If anything, it's a turnoff. I don't know. Why are you making me read that, Sarah? Okay. Okay, by the way, Sarah, you're imagining that it's a turnoff. Okay, don't think that. Okay, I'm sure you look, but don't say that in front of too often in front of Muslims. Okay. Okay. Oh, we might get in trouble for saying that. Okay, YouTube, this is just a joke. We're just joking. Please do not strike us down. Thank you so much. And Sarah, that was funny. Dominic with the super chat saying, does IRGC want pan-Arab caliphate? I forgot. No. Pan-Arab, not at all. They want not even Sunni Islamic Arabs want a pan-Arab caliphate. They want a pan-Islamist caliphate. Okay, so the IRGC is not at all trying to create anything pan-Arab. They're trying to create a pan-Shia and not a caliphate and imamate. Caliphate is for Sunnis. So not pan Arab, not pan Arab, not pan Sunni, pan Shia, and not a caliphate, an imamate. A caliphate is Sunni. The Shia version of a caliphate is an imamate. So you have the ummah. Both of them refer to the Muslim population as an ummah, but the head of the ummah from a Sunni perspective should be a caliphate. From a Shia perspective, it should be an imamate. So pan Shia imamate. And thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the question. Good question, by the way. All right, so what's the next one?
Next, we have Noah, and he would like to talk about Bassett on Iran.
Scott Bassett on Iran?
Yeah, so it was during his press conference. I'll send you a link. He said an interesting quote. He said, the U.S. patience with Iran is limited. So when he said we are being patient, but, I'll let you read the entire thing, but it's interesting, what we've all been saying, like with the limited strikes and stuff, that he's saying that. So yeah.
So the link that you sent me is saying U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on Thursday that Washington does not have unlimited patience with Iran and suggested military strikes could resume if diplomacy fails. I mean, they have said that for a while, right? That's very consistent with what President Trump has been saying. So I'm not surprised that he's saying that. Yeah.
But it's still interesting because, we've had the limited strikes recently and stuff, and, him saying that with, the recent like self-defense strikes, it could mean, like, okay, if that's why I found it interesting. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, does anybody have any opinion on this? But thank you for bringing that up. But if anybody wants to add anything to that, if not, I'm seeing somebody saying there's some breaking news. I'm trying to verify if it's true.
What I see on my end from my app is that Iranian state media says Iranian Navy has fired warning shots at 4 vessels attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without coordination. Ali did put a link for you in the side chat.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. And we got a super chat saying breaking: Iran has launched missiles at American ships in the Strait. Okay, I'll also bring this up. Oh yeah, Vahid Online is talking about this, which is the best source for like Vahid Online, by the way, guys, is the best source. Vahid Online on Telegram is the best source for immediate news. He has so many connections in Iran. Saying همین الان 10:42 دقیقه موشک از جمع پرتاب شد. Okay, so he's getting so many messages saying that people from Iran hearing a missile being launched from their side. بوشهر شهرستان جمع. So this is close to Bushehr. صدای پرتاب موشک بود. Okay, yeah, so many people. He's getting multiple reports confirming that we just. By the way, thank you to Where's My Zootopia. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. So we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you. All right, so more kinetic activity, guys. This is big. Okay, what do we do next?
We had Jeffrey to respond, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay, Jeffrey.
It was just for you to read Ali's post because that's really important.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And thank you, Ali. Okay, what's the next topic? Oh, you wanted me to read the entire article or just the part that Noha? Oh, never mind. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, Halda, we already spoke about the African proxies. Okay, beautiful. Sketch, joint training planes spotted.
Joint training planes spotted. I don't have any context of what this means, but go on. Yes.
Yes, one of our members, Kat, she likes to do a little bird watching. By that we mean looking at the transponder, see what's going on. And one of the planes that was spotted was a TC-135 stratolifter, I believe is the right name for it. Now, this is a plane that is used usually. Oh, my apologies. Let me turn off this alarm 1 second. This is a plane that is usually used for airlifting heavy equipment. But this particular version, I have it here. This particular version is used to fill, they take this plane, right? And they fill it to the brim with equipment that's meant for joint training on how to command and control assets from different forces. Now, we spoke about this before that some of the delays in any operations might be that there is some joint training going on. And because this plane has been seen spotted, and this is a trainer plane, right? It's one of the two planes that are used specifically for this. These stratolifters are used for basically penetrating IRGC signals, spying on their networks, hearing what they're saying, seeing the communications between planes, seeing any signals from these planes and detecting them, or any ground vehicles, right? But this particular version is used to train people to work together, right? And I think the spotting of this is sort of important in a sense that it kind of confirms what some of like our open source intel and other open source intel have been hinting at, that some of the delays might be in getting these countries to understand how to work together.
Interesting. Kat is doing really great with her videos, right? Like watching all of these activity and reporting on them.
So I
100%.
want I was on the list as a number one, but I didn't realize he was going to talk about Kat. In the side chat, I posted the link to her YouTube channel. It's just a couple up now. Kat's YouTube channel not only has cameras showing live skies in Tel Aviv, but she has a flight tracker, military flights, news updates. She's not on there talking. It's like all on the screen running 24 hours a day. So you can watch flight patterns. Again, it has little news updates related to all the events, alerts, whether in Israel or related to the war. There's a lot going on there. So if people like to watch the skies or want updates like that, or just want to support Kat, she has a really nice setup, and that is the link to her page. And again, yep, we tease because cats watch birds. She knows when a plane has turned left and they were supposed to turn right, or they're doing whatever else. And she comes in with great information just based on watching the channel that she's made. It's amazing that through Armin, a lot of people have become so invested in helping us understand and helping the people of Iran, that a lot of YouTube channels have come out, just people finding a void somewhere and then filling that void. So thank you, Armin, for that as well. It's great to be here, and there's a great team of people around you. So yes, check out Kat's page. I will drop it one more time.
I put the link in the YouTube chat as well, and I'm highlighting it on screen so people could see how to get there. People are saying I subscribe.
Jeffrey, I saw your two.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I would just say that this again illustrates that the only way we're going to bring a decisive end to this nonsense is a decisive air campaign to bring a very quick and decisive close to this. Right? 5 by 5, $5 billion, 5 days. The regime is dead. We won't have to worry about like douchebags taking pot shots with drones or missiles or anything else for that matter.
okay. All right. What's next?
Any other super chats, Armin?
Oh no, no super chats. That's it.
Okay. The last one on our list, actually, we have Samantha, and she'd like to talk about why it's scary to realize that America isn't one of the most evil countries.
Okay, wait. So let me write this. Maybe I should say, is America evil? No, actually, no. That would get the wrong idea. Is America realizing that America is not the most evil country? There we go. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. And that is a terrifying thing to like realize. And I know this is a controversial topic, but like I kind of thought about it, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's actually a good idea to talk about it because I'm like, just insight, because I feel like I can give like insight into like why it's so scary for people, like especially on the far left, to have to like think about and to like realize, because it is a fucking terrifying thing to realize.
Do you want to give context to people? Do you want to, before you tell, because a lot of people are not going to find this terrifying, right? So do you want to give people context for why, like your background, and because we have new people here, and why that terrifies you?
Oh, yeah. I was very much into like far leftist activism and was in like a Maoist cult. We were trying to like bring communism to the US. And yeah, so realizing America is not the most evil country is scary for a lot of freaking reasons. Like, there's like, the obvious of like, oh, everyone I associate with thinks America's like one of the most evil countries. So if I like disagree with them, that's going to be like a scary, like, you can't disagree with people. Like, you would be disagreeing with all your friends, especially if you're in a cult. That's scary to like disagree with people. And then there's also like the additional reasons of like, because when you like understand how bad bad things, even if you don't think America's bad, like you have to on some level like understand like there's bad things America's done. So when you realize America's not one of the most evil countries, that's essentially saying like, oh, it gets even worse than this, which is like also scary because it's like I'm like, if America, as bad as America is, it gets even worse. That's really scary because that's like, oh shit, there's no good countries out there. Like, they're all fucked up. They're all like evil. Like, everyone's evil.
Well,
and then there's also like, when like the bad things America's done, to like say, oh, America's still like, to argue that America is not one of the most evil countries, it feels like you're making fun of and making light of like all the bad things America's done. Like, to say America's not one of the most evil countries, I feel
what
like,
about the good things? What about the good things that America has done? All the good things it has. Can you acknowledge that?
oh, I feel like I'm not totally mentally there yet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I mean, America's one of the least anti-Semitic countries.
No, it's not.
So I can give America that.
America is not anti-Semitic.
What do you mean it's not?
It's anti-Semitic?
I said one of the least anti-Semitic.
Oh, least. Okay. All right. Is there something small to get you to like, no pressure? Okay. Is there a tiny little good, not a big, not like a huge good thing that America has done? Okay, but is there something tiny that it could be like, oh, America has done this and that's good, like just a tiny bit?
The cop who killed George Floyd was prosecuted, so America did take accountability.
Okay, the accountability that the United States has.
I wouldn't say America does what it should in terms of accountability, but it has shown ability to take accountability in some instances.
Okay, I'm proud of you. This is great progress. Okay, I know this is uncomfortable for you. Okay, and I know we disagree a lot. I happen to believe that America is the greatest force of good in the world. right? And I think the contribution that America has made to the world far outweighs anything bad they have ever done. And not only that, that distance between what the good and the bad that they have done is so wide, that is wider than any other country has ever done in history of civilization ever. I think the world is a much, much better place because of United States. I think so many people are out of poverty globally because of the presence of United States. I think there's so much less war. There's so much more peace and stability in the world because of United States. I think the whole world owes United States because of the science, the technology that comes out of United States. The whole world has become a better place. I think the level of hunger dropping to historical lows is because of the technology and the science that comes from the United States. I think that if you look at this, most of the diseases in the world has been eradicated, like to levels that is has been unimaginable. Most of the disease that we don't have to deal with is because of America's contribution. One thing that I love about United States is that every time there is a natural disaster somewhere around the world, Americans are the first to show up and they're the last to leave, and they don't have to do that, and they do that every single time, right? But there's so many the way that United States has contributed to the world, to its stability, to its safety, to its prosperity, to lowering disease, to lowering hunger, to lowering violence, is so many. It's too many to even count. So I think America is actually the best thing that has happened to the world, to the human civilization.
It's really sad that human civilization is just fucked up.
It's not fucked up. The human civilization is not. I see so much beauty around the world. I hope you one day see that. I see, like we are, Samantha. We are living in the best of times. Like there's so when you see hunger levels reaching historical lows, when you see so many people having more access to clean water in a way that it was never imaginable for 10,000 years, when you see people living like kings, that living lives that kings would be jealous of for most of history, and they don't even know that they're living lives that kings would be jealous of, like doesn't that give you optimism that we're moving in the right direction? Like, it's beautiful. Like, I hope one day you could see the world the way I see it, because it's so motivating to see how much progress we're making, and it seems like we're moving in the right direction.
The Taliban legalized child marriage.
Actually, listen to this. Child marriage was way more legal. The fact that you say the Taliban legalized child marriage shows that you have to look for somewhere in Afghanistan to find something that vile. Okay, 200 years ago, you didn't have to go all the way to Afghanistan to find that example, right? The fact that you have to look at the example that you just gave, right? When you say the Taliban legalized child marriage, that means that you have to go to a place like Afghanistan to be able to find something that vile. Just 200 years ago, you didn't have to look that hard to be able to find something like that. It was everywhere. That is progress.
Okay, we have a lot of responses. First up is Sketch.
I don't want to speak to specifically any particular person. I just want to talk generally. Generally, people in a cult will hang on to things that are not true and state them as true. When you say realizing America is not the most evil, you have to presuppose that it is evil. Your old mic is open, Dejal. You have to presuppose that it is evil, right? So they speak in presuppositions. They speak for people that are not them as if they were, like saying, oh, George Floyd is this hero. I'm black. He's not our hero. He doesn't represent us. And any white liberal that tries to think that George Floyd represents us is insulting us. It is offensive to tell black people, yeah, this is your hero. This is your saint. This is one of the most offensive thing that this fentanyl overdosing criminal is a representation of us. Now, I usually don't wear my immutable characteristics as a shield. Like, I don't call myself Puerto Rican Sketch. I don't call myself Black Sketch. I don't call myself Latino Sketch. But usually people in the cult, because they use these things as shield, they put that as their first and foremost identity. And when your identity is tied to something immutable, you can't change your position because all your positions come from that immutable characteristic. There's also a problem in the mentality of these people as far as they have such a narrow, selfish view of the world that the only thing that matters to them is what they're feeling. They don't care about thought. They don't care about facts. They care about feelings, right? So they'll say things like, well, I feel, I experienced, and this is what I went through, as if that is statistically meaningful. There's 7 billion people on Earth. Every time we're talking about some statistic, fact-based event, and it's countered by some anecdotal, experiential counter, you forget that for the last 10 years, anecdotal experiential counters have been used to cancel and to destroy the left. I didn't say a name. If anyone in the chat is trying to say, I see a name, right? Because I said, I'm not going to speak anyone in particular. But now what's going to happen is selfish people, no matter what you say, they think you're talking about them because they think the world revolves around them. So no matter what you say, they're going to take it personal. Right? So when I was speaking about the people that called him a hero, I meant literally the people that called him a hero. Now, this has been used against us. The reason why conservatives will have an automatic rejection of any experiential or my point of view where I know a guy, well, this is the way I feel. Well, you got to understand my life experience. You have to validate my life experience, is because that has been used for 30 years to kick us off YouTube, kick us off Twitter, kick us off platforms, debank us. So if you notice that whenever some leftist is talking, well, but I went through and I know a guy and my friend and I feel, but what about my experience? We're going to say you're either lying or this is statistically meaningless, or you're just being selfish, narrow-minded, and self-centered. Why am I saying this? Am I trying to be mean? No, I'm going to get to my point. My point is, if you are on the left and you want the right to understand you, you need to speak not from your point of view, but from a wider point of view. Because on the right, we want a wider breadth of data. We want to do the best good for the largest amount of people, as Armin likes to say. And if you're going to go off your selfish feelings and your selfish point of view, we're not going to understand you. It may be valid. You may be correct about your feelings, and your feelings may extrapolate to a larger community, a larger section of the population, a larger data set. But because you started the conversation from this anecdotal, selfish, self-centered perspective, we're going to reject it outright. So what I suggest is to people on the right, on the left, that want to speak to people on the right, first of all, don't presuppose facts that you can't prove are facts, right? These presuppositions as fact feel like an attack, right? If you care about feelings, I'm explaining. If you care about your feelings, understand what we will feel as soon as someone is using anecdotal, self-centered, experiential evidence against us. So when you speak to the right, understand the larger the data set and the less personal the perspective you bring, the more it is likely to be accepted.
Okay, next up we have Halda.
Hey, I actually found this conversation rather interesting because, on my campus, I see quite a few people, that are really upset with, the division of rich versus poor, educated versus non-educated, blue collar versus, white collar, et cetera, et cetera. And it always seems to stem from, people that have this idea that everybody is the same. Everybody needs to be treated equally. Everybody should have the same shots at life. etc., etc. They seem to think that this is some sort of American standard, I think, or maybe a world standard, and it's not true. We have to put in effort for anything to work. I mean, anybody who knows me really closely knows that I'm looking at relocating, overseas. And I have my reasons for doing this. It's not necessarily that I hate America, but I do really dislike the economic issues that are going on here. But stating that, I think that we have to recognize certain things about being here, because I'm assuming you're talking about America. We're sitting here right now able to talk freely, on an internet without any sort of limitations, no filtering, no mentoring. Unless we threaten to kill somebody, we can pretty much talk about whatever we want to talk about. And I find that that's a gift. And then the fact that, at least at my time zone, we're sitting here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe even 20, 30, 40 years ago, we'd have been out there working. I think that we have come into an age that it's almost like the Romans, where the Romans literally had so much in their lives that they were trying to find things to do to keep themselves entertained. They had parties, etc., but they were still complaining all the time. So I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. I think I lost my train of thought. But we've got so many things that we are literally taking for granted. It's almost like we are trying to find flaws just so that we have something to pick at, like a scab almost. And I think that we have to be really, really careful to avoid that and try to, even if it's like 2-3 times a day, sit down and say, what kind of positive things do I actually have? Do I have the ability to speak freely? Do I have the ability to go buy any book I want to buy and it's not being banned or censored? Do I have the ability to watch anything on TV that I want to watch? Can I talk to anybody? Can I be friends with anybody? Am I able to interact with people of different religions? We have a lot of gifts here that I think that we take for granted. And I think that we have to be really, really careful. And I do think that we have some serious issues with the left, bringing almost like a paranoia. And I have noticed this, like I said, on my campus, I see it with my own family. And I just think it's something that we have to guard against so that it doesn't rub off on us, because as we all know, negative energy seems to be very catching, so if we can just somehow spin it to be a little bit more positive, I think that we're going to find a lot more happiness in our lives. That's all I have to say.
Up next, we have Jilly.
Samantha, I think a lot about what you said. And I thought I'd sort of tell you what happened to me when I was your age, and I was very young and very idealistic, and I wanted human society to be perfect. And it took me a long time to realize that there is no perfection in human societies of any sort, because humans are not perfect. And unfortunately, it's the actions of the bad minority that can hijack the narrative for everybody. But there is a tendency on the left to point to what they would like to call the bad actions of the minority on the right, and completely overlook their own actions. And the thing that I think brought me around to this was something that my father said. So when I was about your age, the My Lai massacre occurred in Vietnam. And I was very anti-Vietnam. I was protesting with everybody. And so when I heard about the My Lai massacre, I said to my father, you see how bad America is? Imagine, the soldiers going in and massacring this village. And my father pointed out to me that only in America would their own soldiers be taken to a court and taken to account for this atrocity. And that it was actually something to be proud of, that in the West, we hold people accountable for their bad actions when it's possible to do so. And I'm also reminded of it recently when war broke out in Israel after October the 7th, some people I know in very influential circles started throwing around things, and they said things like, aha, what about the Dawabsha baby? And the Dawabsha baby is a horrible story, and I think many people on this site will know of that. That's the little girl who baby who was burnt to death, supposedly, allegedly, by settlers, by Israeli settlers, little Arab baby. But it's the same story. Israel held those people to account. You may agree or disagree with the extent to which they held them to account, but they held them to account. Okay. And I would like you to name me one person that the Palestinian Authority has ever prosecuted for killing an Israeli or a Jew. Just one person. So when you look at the bad that happens on one side or the other, it's never going to be perfect. Things are going to be problematic from time to time. But in Western societies, we are held to account for what we do most of the time, not all the time. Yes, people get away with stuff and stuff like that. But there is an attitude, a desire to hold people to account. And the other thing is also been well pointed out here already. It's that I know you feel that part of your fear lies with alienating your peers on the left. And that should tell you everything, because you're here with people who are largely leaning towards the right, at least. And none of us are rejecting you, Samantha, because you don't believe necessarily what we believe. We absolutely accept you. We absolutely accept your right to question. In fact, we welcome it, because that's the kind of society we want to build, a society where people are held accountable and where there are humans, good humans, who question the things that aren't right. This is a society you can build on and you can make it better. A society you can't question is not a society you can ever improve. And that's just what I want to share with you.
Thank you, Jilly. Okay, next up we have Ida.
Hey, yeah, Jilly said it very well. I personally feel touched by Samantha, because I have never been in a cult. I can only kind of understand what she's going through, because going out of a thing that you were so sure that is true, and you were, I don't know, whether brainwashed, whether brought up in this. I'm not, Samantha, I'm not talking about only you, and people in general, like cults or religions that are very, and to start to see the other side. I understand why are you afraid and why it's scary for you, because things are like, right, like the earth is not like crumbling under your feet, and what you think was right is maybe not right. Do I understand you correctly somehow? So I feel you, and thank you for sharing. And you're very brave, yes, and you should ask questions, and you're very brave to come up and just explore the world. Thank you, Samantha. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, next we have Armin, then Jeffrey, and we'll have Samantha close it out.
Can I please just quickly also say one more thing, actually, real quick?
Yep.
Please. Okay. Another thing is, if like, what's scary is it's like, because if America is kind of like the reason why there's so much bad in the world, then if you're in America, you feel like you have more power to like.
Wait, can you say that again? You were cut. Your audio was cut.
What's bad in the world, if that makes sense?
I didn't hear any of that. Did you guys hear that? Oh my god.
realizing that like a lot of the things that are bad in the world are
You're breaking up, Samantha.
Samantha,
okay. Yeah.
can you
So like
try?
if you're in America and you wait, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Can you hear me now? Because like if you're in America and you
It's fucking app, man.
believe
Samantha, how
that
about you
like
write? How about
America is
Samantha?
the reason
Oh, she's out.
I'm sure she's loading and coming back in.
Hmm.
Shall we not do the other two until she comes back since they were
Yeah.
responses? Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. You decide. Bad timing.
Yeah, I don't know that she was really engaged with the people that were speaking as much. So maybe she just thought they were trying to give an opinion and not speaking to her. So maybe we can move on
there you
to
go.
super.
She's back. She's back here.
Oh.
Samantha,
okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
Give it a
Sorry.
give it another try.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, yeah. So if like you're in America and you believe that America is the reason there's so much bad in the world, then that automatically means that you have like some power and control to like change the fact that there's so much bad in the world. So then to have to like realize like, oh wait, it's not because of America that there's this much bad in the world means that you have to now accept that like you have less power to like fix what's wrong in the world than you thought you.
Okay. So can I go now? Is it my turn? Okay. Okay. First of all, that's not true, Samantha, because actually it's the opposite. If you realize that America is such a force for good in the world, that means as an American, you actually have more influence to increase the contribution to the world than other citizens in the world. You know, you as an American citizen, you have a lot of power now because you are in the most influential country. And again, I acknowledge the United States is has contributed way more good than bad to the world, but it doesn't mean that the bad doesn't exist. Just because America is great, it doesn't mean that it can't get better. There's a lot room for improvement. There's a lot room for improvement. There's still so many bad things that needs to be fixed, right? So everybody can contribute. So I don't see that. I don't see. I mean, we're so, even though we have made so much progress, and I see that progress, and I'm encouraged by that progress, we're not at all close to where we want to be, right? So we have so much more ahead of us than and we all could be contributing to that. So there's a lot of work that we could do together. I do wanted to mention, Samantha, that there were a lot of people in the YouTube chat that were proud of you, and they were saying they're proud of Samantha, even though they might disagree with your points. They were very encouraged to see how brave you are. It's not easy leaving a cult. And I understand that. I left Islam, and I've seen so many other people leaving Islam, and a lot of people don't understand the emotional challenges associated with being, because they think a lot of people who haven't been in cults or ideologies that are so dominating, they don't take over your mind. They think that, oh, it's just changing your views. They think it's just about being presented with facts and then recognizing that your previous belief doesn't represent reality, and then you therefore just change it, as if you could just, it's like changing your clothes, because they haven't gone through this. They don't understand that these clothes are like sewed into your body. Okay, because it's not just the ideas, it's the people. It's the people. And they don't understand that leaving these ideas behind comes with a judgment from the people that you cared about, or maybe even continue care about, on such a deep level, and it touches us in a the human mind cares more about acceptance than anything else, right? And it fears being shamed, and it fears being rejected more than anything else. So these ideologies take advantage of that. So it's not just about understanding what is true, it's about accepting that these people who I was connected with on such a deep level are now going to reject me or hate me or shame me because of these new views that I have, right? And people don't take that into account, and they just give you facts. They just keep giving you facts, and none of these facts is going to help with that. None of these facts is going to help with this pain that you're going to feel from giving up on the friends and people that you cared about and you loved and you were so connected to. And they keep giving you information and they keep giving you data, and they don't understand that part of it. All right. And that's a deep part of it. That's like, people can't underestimate the emotional part of it. We humans, we are social animals. We're deeply emotional social animals, and we care about our position in society and how we're viewed by other human beings more than we care about food, more than we care about anything else, more than we care about sex, food, or anything else. How we're viewed is the highest priority thing that we work for. Everything, most of what we do is to achieve that, to be seen by other people as good, be accepted by the people that we care about. All right. And our beliefs are part of that. And I just wanted to let you know that I know that you have done a lot of work, and it's been hard, and people who haven't gone through this don't understand that. And I'm proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you. Okay. And also, by the way, Jilly, a lot of people in the chat, YouTube chat, were really loving what you're saying. And I just noticed that you don't have access to our VIP discussion. So I just wanted to make sure that I made you VIP so you could be in our VIP discussions as well. And one thing else is, okay, so one thing I understand that when it comes to changing people's opinions, giving anecdotal evidence or giving people's I completely agree with this idea that giving people's anecdotes and my life story doesn't help at all when it comes to trying to convince people of a different viewpoint. Okay, I completely agree with that. That's so on point. But on top of that, I do want to add that sometimes we sharing our stories or giving anecdotes, the goal is not necessarily to convince other people that my view is correct and you guys are wrong, right? And I think this is something that we need to appreciate. Sometimes people just need to be heard, and we're listening to them, and we're listening to their story and their life story and their personal experience, not to be convinced, because that's just one data point, right? That's not data, that's not a study, that's not an academic research. We're going to listen to that, not because that's going to convince us that another worldview is correct and ours is incorrect, but we're listening to them just for the sake of listening to them, because people want to be heard, and people want their stories to be heard, and people want their perspective and their life experiences to be heard by other people. So we listen to it as a way to show them that we care about them and we're hearing them, right? Not everything is about debates and facts and convincing people of our views or their views. Sometimes you just listen to somebody just so that they know that they have somebody that will listen to them. Okay, and I saw a couple of more twos in the chat. Wait, is anybody counting
I
the
think
two?
he left. Does anyone
Okay.
does it remember if it was Jeff and then
it was Jeff and then Ida and then super chats
Yeah,
and
please.
then nothing. Yeah, and then normal. Jeff?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate Samantha sharing her experience. It very much illustrates the victims of leftist propaganda co-opting people's youthful exuberance to make the world a better place to support their bullshit sedition? I mean, think of the narrative that you keep hearing, right? The United States is like the most benevolent system leader in recorded human history by any measure you care to use. George Floyd, he was a ruthless asshole and violent drug addict who held a friggin' pistol to a pregnant black woman's stomach when he did an armed house invasion. Did that mean he deserved to die? No. That said, the solutions to address, say, overreaction by law enforcement, non-lethal directed energy weapons like ADT, LRAD, pulse energy projectiles, sticky foam, MRAMPs with embedded paramedics via the 1033 program, that was all undermined by bug-eyed fucking alien-looking limousine socialists like AOC and her squad of similarly self-absorbed douche canoes. I mean, that's the problem, right? Leftists either creating, co-opting, misrepresenting, and weaponizing any crisis to serve as a backdrop for their sedition without a fucking care in the world of the harm they cause to the very previously vulnerable demographics they brazenly claim to speak for. You're seeing that in Iran, right? You can see the weaponization of those selective application alleged consideration the left purports to have. They bitch and moan about gay marriage, yet say nothing of gay kids hung from the neck till dead from a crane by the mullah regime or beheaded in Chop Chop Square. You got a bunch of privileged limousine socialist bitches wearing pussy hats because President Trump posted a mean tweet, yet say nothing of the abuse suffered by women under the mullah regime. Nothing about Netta Aga Sultan, nothing about Misha, nothing about Soraya M, nothing about women having acid thrown in their face. They don't give a fuck. The left immediately co-opted the death of George Floyd to cash in on manufactured outrage via the Act Blue disbursement scam. I helped blow that in, yet didn't think to reach out to NOBLE, which is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives that was created in the 70s to address the disconnect between Americans of African descent community and like law enforcement. I mean, it's just a fucked up ideology. It's super shitty, super predatory, and it does ungodly damage to everything it touches, whether it was what it did to the United States and the Western Alliance via Soviet active measures, or the shit that they helped cause when they took down the noble house of Pahlavi via the Red-Black Alliance. So I'll say this, man. I mean, like Jessica, obviously, there's times where you like frustrate the shit out of me. I very much appreciate the fact you do the work you do. And I mean everything I say to you, critical and things I say in PM when I said I have a lot of love for you. And if you ever wanted help to move that needle, I'm always there for you. I just fucking hate leftists because they're bags of shit.
Wow, that was epic. A lot of people. that was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right.
Well said. Ida, please.
But
Hey, can you hear me?
yes, Ida, go ahead. By the way, guys, that was
Yeah,
not
I
an
just-
attack on Samantha. Just to be clear, that was not an attack on Samantha. Okay, and Samantha, we love Samantha. We love Samantha, and we're proud of Samantha and everything that she's doing. Samantha has made so much progress. Just to be clear. Go on. Sorry, Ida. Sorry, interrupting.
That's okay. No, I just wanted to add again to what you were saying about how it's hard to live a cult, a religious ideology. You were referring to, you're leaving your people behind and your peers behind, and the criticism. But even that is scary. I don't know if it's scarier. What's more scarier is that you come to understand that something that you inside of you is now kind of breaking, but in a good way. So you could see the other side, but it's still really like mentally and psychologically on yourself, with yourself, like your brain is like wired to think that, but then again, you realize there's maybe something else. So it's confusing and it's scary and it's hard. So hugs. And do you get what I'm saying? it's not only thinking about the outside. It's like how do you say vortex inside of you. Even from your own perspective, like, who am I now? What am I saying? What was it? I was taught all of that, and suddenly maybe it's not true. Maybe it is true. What, who, where? It's very, very confusing. So that's all. I feel
Thank
for
you.
Samantha. So,
Oh,
and for all those people who are like, because even if you are brought up in complete evil, right, and you believe that it's right, but it's wrong, but for you it's right. Seeing the other side, it's again, like you said, you can give all the reasons and the analytical things, but it's just so much work inside of you that needs to be done if people choose to do that. And Samantha, yes, I'm proud of you. It doesn't matter, like, and I think extremists from either, like, that's why we have to find balance, right? And I think maybe working on your better self, and it will be okay. Just I believe it's gonna be okay. Thank you.
yeah, and honestly, part of the reason why we hate some of these leftist cults is what they do to people like Samantha, right? That's part of it. Okay, and also
Any cult, anything that that makes your mind work like that, and your beliefs like that, right?
yes, exactly. All right, let me just read a couple of super chats. Sayed just gave us a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Sayed. And then Melcat Woman, thank you so much for the super chat saying Bepish. And then Michael with a $20 super chat saying, I think what Samantha. Okay, so here. Yeah, Melcat Woman, I read that one. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sayed. So this is for Samantha. Samantha, can you Michael is saying that trying to see if he has an understanding of what you're saying, so you could confirm if this is correct or not. Okay, so Michael is saying, I think what Samantha is trying to say is that we must recognize the good, bad, and ugly. As humans, we're not perfect. Every nation has spilled blood, but we've pioneered Western values and ideas. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't say America pioneered Western values and ideas. I think, it changes who is like the most like, best at having certain views, and like who's the most humane, I think kind of changes like which society all the time. And I think by pretending like the West is like, just innately always been and always, it leads you to think like the West will always be. And it's, if we lose track of I don't think the West has always been the most humane. I think it might be the most humane now, but it hasn't always been the most humane. If we pretend that it's inherently Western, then and that it's always been this way, then we are susceptible to thinking that'll always be this way, and then become lazy and stop taking accountability, which is dangerous. But yes, we should recognize like good and the bad and take like honest inventory.
Can I ask you a question, Samantha? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, you say we need to take accountability. We've been taking accountability for decades now, with the idea that the West has a debt to pay to the world for all of our sins, all the bad we've ever done, and of course, the West has done bad things. Who hasn't? Especially in the past, people used to be a lot more brutal than they are now, comparatively speaking. This has been drilled into people's heads for several decades now that the West is an innately evil culture that must be destroyed. It must be held accountable for all the sins it's committed. It has to be punished. It has to be destroyed. That's the idea. I mean, this has been pushed over and over and over again to the point where we're now being invaded and colonized by radical Muslim savages who are raping tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of women and girls in the West. And we turn a blind eye to it because we're scared of being called racist. And the governments, the various governments, especially Britain, has purposely covered it up. Covered for them, often participated in actually cops, bribe, to look the other way. They've joined into it, especially Muslim cops who've also infiltrated the police. And this is the fruit of the absolute self-hatred that has consumed the West, that has possessed the West. This is what we've gotten out of that. We know what we did in the past. We know the good, we know the bad. We get it, but it's been drilled into our fucking heads to the point where we absolutely fucking despise ourselves and are willing to let our women get raped just so we can avoid being called racist. And that's where we are. And now the backlash is coming, and it's going to get ugly. We've talked about this many times. You know my feelings on this. You know how fucking radical I am about this. People are tired of this. They're tired of the flagellation. They're tired of being demonized. And this is where we are. We've gone too far in that direction. I'm not even saying you're wrong. You're totally wrong. We've done good. We've done bad. Absolutely. But the bad has been drilled so deeply into us that we cannot even recognize the good anymore. For many of us, I mean, I do, and even you increasingly do so, and that's a great thing. You were brainwashed. You're trying to get out of it, and I applaud you for that. So this isn't a personal attack. I'm just saying that what you're talking about is something that has been done over and over and over again for many decades now, and we're bearing the fruit of that, and that fruit is extremely rotten.
I think we're having a problem with extremism right now, where it's like both sides are going too far to the extreme. And
there is, yeah, go on.
People absolutely have gone lost their shit and gone too far to the extreme, and
well, I hear you. I mean,
automatically assume that everything is like the West's fault, and like I can go more like. We also then have people who just are, we have too many people who just aren't willing to take basic accountability in this country for the fucked up shit this country's done, and
but who
to some extent. And then,
but who has to take?
So many people in the chat are like just defending the murder of George Floyd, where it's like,
listen,
really?
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't like. Listen, I don't like Floyd. I think he's a fucking scumbag. But I don't give a damn about Derek Chauvin either. I'm gonna be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, he can stay where he is. He didn't know Floyd. He didn't know what a fucking scumbag he was. His presence of mind was such that the guy, people can talk about that, the drug overdose, all that shit. He had this fucking knee on his neck for 10 minutes. We can debate it. That's fine. Look, David Koresh, he was also a scumbag. Randy Weaver was a scumbag. That doesn't mean I like what happened at fucking Waco. And that doesn't mean that I like the fact that Randy Weaver's wife got shot in the fucking head. You don't have to like these people, and you don't have to like George Floyd. The guy robbed a pregnant woman at gunpoint. I don't mourn him by any means, and trying to lionize him, as many people have, has actually been very counterproductive. You can make the case that what happened was wrong, and people can agree or disagree with it, without lionizing George Floyd. You don't have to do that. We can debate the merits of that on its own grounds without lionizing the man. But just like you don't have to lionize David Koresh.
I have a question. Like like when it comes to the cop, I'm not married to my position. I saw some evidence that he was just following protocol, but I'm not married to that position. Hold on, just let me finish my thought.
Sure, man. Sorry.
Like that is not like if anybody shows to me that no, the guy, like my point, Samantha, I was not excusing anyone's killing. Everybody here that didn't like George Floyd was also saying that he didn't deserve to die, right? Nobody here made it. Nobody here said that he deserved to die, even if he was a criminal scumbag. When it comes to the police doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing, I'm sure, like, I have a position. I'm not married to it. If anybody shows to me that the police fucked up, I'm like, okay, well then punish him. And if I see evidence that no, he was just following protocol, then I'm like, okay, well then free him. Like that's not that's a position that I'm willing to completely change easily. But go on, Digital. Like I don't know about the cop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not married to mine either. Like I said, you can debate drugs versus the neonatal. I don't think the guy was getting up. I think the guy was pretty much gone at that point. It's like, okay, you're following the protocol of your position. Okay, you know, like, I mean, you could say about a lot of things, like just following the rules in and of itself is not an excuse to me. Because you're following the protocol, because the protocols can be wrong. But
you don't know that. Like if you're a cop, you're like, the people who wrote the protocol have came up with the protocol saying that this is the safest thing to do. So I'm not like, I don't know what kills people. Like I can't make it as a cop. If I'm a cop, like what am I supposed to do? Like do like a biology, like a medical assessment with regards to this, whether this protocol is going to.
I just think putting your knee on the back of a drug some high druggie's head and neck for 10 minutes. It's just.
But that's exactly
like
what
I said,
they tell you to do. But that's what they tell you to do. So they should. So that's
well,
his fault. If
okay,
it's wrong,
well,
if it's wrong, then the people who came up with the protocol, they are the ones who should be criticized.
Sure.
Not the person who's wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that just seems obvious to me. Like if somebody told him to jump off a fucking bridge, is he going to do that because that's protocol? I mean, I don't know. I'm just coming at. I'm just coming at. Okay, I'm just saying. Like all I'm saying is we can debate that, but you can do that without admitting that, without saying that George Floyd was a good guy, because that ain't what I'm saying.
Let me just defend myself, because people in the chat are saying that, I mean, like, watch the video. I'm completely willing to be like, yeah, okay, like I'm not at all married to this position. The only thing I know is that George Floyd shouldn't be turned into a hero because he was like not a good person. That's the position that I'm like comfortable with. With the cops,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm completely willing to switch based on evidence on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I feel you.
I agree. That, like, okay, yes, George Floyd was not a good fucking person, and I can agree with that. But like, you know, the cop doesn't have a right to be judge, jury, and executioner. Like, the cop should not be acting with more force than what is necessary to neutralize a situation.
Yeah.
I don't think the cop was trying to. I mean, I don't think the cop was like, let me execute this man. To be fair, but go on.
It's right. It's a debatable issue. We can debate that, but I think you can do that without lionizing Floyd. You don't have to do that. You can't separate the two. It's like I said about, like, say, David Koresh. The guy was a fucking scumbag. He's a pedophile. I don't like what happened in Waco. I don't like that 58 children died as a result of that. They burned alive. Randy Weaver's wife was shot in the fucking head while holding her baby. He was a neo-Nazi. He eventually got acquitted of his gun charges. I don't like Nazis. I don't like David Koresh. I don't like pedophiles. But that doesn't mean Waco was good. That doesn't mean what happened with Weaver's wife was good either. You don't have to like either of those guys. That's all I'm saying. That's something we can talk about.
So
but yeah, George Floyd was a scumbag.
I know. I see a lot of people want to make this keep talking about this. But I need to go. I see Sketch and Jeffrey wanting to talk about this. But you guys could continue talking about it when I'm not here. But guys, please, when I'm not here, I know I don't need to say this, but I'm gonna say this anyways. Please be nice to Samantha, okay? Please protect Samantha at all costs, okay? Everyone here.
Yeah.
Okay? So
no, we're gonna eat her alive. I'm gonna eat her alive.
Let's go. By the way, I just one more thing. I was going to say, Thomas Sowell, he used to be a communist too. He was a fucking communist back in the day.
Okay.
our own Susanna, what was an Antifa.
Dejal, like I'm telling you, I really need to go because so you could.
Okay. Sorry,
But
bro. I'm not trying to hold you.
I need to do
Okay.
2 things before I go. I need to do 2 things. First of all,
I'm sorry.
Yes, Amir
Sorry, bro.
gave us a super chat saying, "Did Dejal voice Shere Khan, the Jungle Book?" Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, the tiger. Is that the tiger in the Jungle Book? I forgot what his name was. Okay, so did you voice that, Dejal? Just yes or no? And thank you, Amir, for the super chat. Oh, okay. I'm assuming that's a no. Okay, and then
Yeah.
what's that name? Was that his name? Yeah, the tiger in Jungle Book. Did you voice him? Yes. Okay, that's a yes. He did.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Okay, you did. Thank
Yes.
you for that. And then Texas was asking Samantha. Texas Troop was asking Samantha. Do you think America has had a national reckoning with its racist past?
I think it's had to a large extent, but like the problem is we're in an age of polarization, and it's like some people like going off the deep end with taking things too far, and then like, but there's still a lot of people who aren't like, there yet in terms of like where like willingness to acknowledge like, and have like that reckoning. Like, so it's complicated because it's like we're just so polarized right now that it's like people are going into one of 2 extremes, and it's easy to look at the other side and say we've gone too far or we haven't had that yet, because there is because regardless of which side you're on, it's like, you're right. Yes, a substantial part of the society, they go too far, and a substantial part of the society has not gone far enough.
So Texas Troop is saying that's progress. So she's saying that you made that's progress, Samantha. And then we got another super chat from Sketch, which I don't know, I don't understand. So Sketch is here. Thank you, by the way, Sketch, saying defenders of George Floyd forget the dead from riots always. Oh, okay. Yes, they do. They do. Yeah, good point. Good point from Sketch. And thank you, Sketch. And okay, let me just stop the recording here. And guys, sorry for rushing you at the end. You guys could continue the conversation without me. Be nice to each other, please. Thank you, guys. And until next time, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainian. Long live America. Javid Shah, Payende Iran. See you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye, man. Bye.